Jumping to conclusions. There are two categories that fall under jumping to conclusions: mind reading and fortune telling. Mind reading is when we assume we know what someone is thinking about us. This mind trap is an extension of the natural tendency to read people's body language and allows us to react to projected actions from others before they make them. However, it can be taken too far when people think they can tell what others are thinking without any communication, and can lead to some issues if we react incorrectly. One issue is when the person who is mind reading relies too heavily on this technique and assumes that people are thinking negatively of them. Mind reading takes the control from others to influence the perception of the person who is doing the mind reading, because the person mind reading forms opinions of others without any action from them. This can lead to conflict when people act based on perceptions of others that have no basis in reality. Mind reading is most common in people with social anxiety, but it can be triggered by other types of anxiety as well. A good way to overcome mind reading would be to notice when it is happening and counter those thoughts when they come. Fortune telling is a mental shortcut that predicts negative outcomes or assumes the worst. Thoughts such as, "I probably failed that test," "I know they won't like me," or "I bet I won't get that job," are all common examples of fortune telling. Have you ever had an experience where you were trying to convince yourself that you did poorly or that something bad will happen when in reality everything was fine? You probably fell into the fortune-telling mind trap. While fortune-telling can happen to anyone, individuals with depression and anxiety are more prone to it because they have already predisposed to low self-esteem and think others think poorly of themselves. While in dangerous environments, fortune-telling can keep you safe, automatically assuming the worst on a regular basis is not healthy and may limit your social interaction, decrease your enthusiasm to try new things, or even negatively impact your emotional well-being. Now that we know the dangers of fortune telling, how can we overcome it? The first step is identifying the thought. Ask yourself, is this thought helping me or harming me? If you answered harming you, you have successfully identified that you are fortune telling. If you answered helping you, what's your evidence? Would your reasoning hold up in an argument? If you find that the quality of your reasoning would not stand by itself, for example, thoughts such as, "It helps lower my expectations so I'm not disappointed if I do poorly," or "It makes me feel better when I exceed my expectations," then that means you are fortune telling. Once you can recognize that you're fortune telling, you are well on your way to overcoming it. While overcoming mind reading and fortune telling isn't as simple as just don't think about it, we hope these tips and tricks have helped you with recognizing and managing those thoughts.